in the county of Van Buren in the state of Arkansas. Jim Berry was a teenage lad, fancy on the draw, boys, fancy on the draw. He formed a...
This is a Kenner Slough. About the center of the Kenner Slough, the Oxbow Lake. That's formed from running out of Red River, around into Tick Creek, and then back into Red River.
This supposedly is the site where the widow lived when Jim Berry, a 14-year-old boy, shot the Jayhawker Bill Dark. The widow woman's sister had died during the night, and they were killing a hog so that they would have food. And they got the fire going, and evidently the fire that they built to scald the hog attracted the attention of the Jayhawkers, and they came riding in. And from most sources that I've talked to, it was only Jim Berry and a bunch of women that were doing the hog killing. And they came riding in and saying, "We'll have fresh meat tonight." And Bill Dark chased Jim Berry around the house a couple of times, and he stopped in the chimney corner, and evidently he had a weapon or a gun, and he shot Bill Dark. And the other Jayhawkers took off yelling, "It's a trap, it's a trap," and so they left out. And most stories are that I've heard that he killed Bill Dark, that he died instantly. There have been other stories that he lived several hours, and one story is that the women buried him face down so he wouldn't dig out. And so there's a lot of stories about that, but the basic story that Jim Berry, 14 years old, was the only male there. Because he was the only male there because the other men were off fighting the war, the Civil War. And there just weren't very many men around in the community. And times were hard because there were Jayhawker stories just abounding about the cruelties of the Jayhawkers and so forth. That was not new to them. So evidently when these riders came riding in, it was unusual for anyone to have horses because the military would take their horses to use in the war effort. Jim Berry was my great-grandfather. And I had never heard this story until I was a senior in high school. I heard it from, well, maybe I should go back and tell you where I was. I had gone to Timbo with some boys that were in a band, and they wanted me to go sing for their band in this variety show at Timbo. And so we were standing backstage waiting to be introduced. Jimmy Driftwood was the MC. And he told them that the boys' names, and he said, "And Angalee Berry is going to sing. She is the great-granddaughter of Jim Berry, who killed the Jayhawker." I don't remember singing. I don't remember anything. I just remember thinking, I've never heard that before. So when I got home that night, I went to Daddy's bedroom and woke him up and said, "Daddy, did great-grandpa Jim Berry kill somebody?" And Daddy said, "What?" And I said, "Jimmy Driftwood said he killed someone." And Daddy said, "Oh, go to bed and go talk to Poppy tomorrow." And so that's what I did, and that's the first time I heard the story.
Aubrey Berry and Clay Rushing both pointed out to me the spot right in here, just this side of that big rock, and a couple 100 yards from, or 300 yards from the widow's cabin, that they buried him. In different stories, some stories was they buried him in a uprooted tree stump hole. And because it was wintertime, if it's only women, they probably couldn't have dug much of a grave. They tried to put him in an inconspicuous place because they sure didn't want anybody to find him. And it's somewhere in this area right here, this side of the big rock and rather flat area here before you start up the mountain here. And this, I know that they both knew because their grandparents was involved. The Kenners lived here, and that was my dad's grandmother, folks. And then Jim Berry was Aubrey's grandpa. So I know they've been pointed out to the spot. I know it's not hearsay where the widow's cabin was or where the grave was. Here's some of the old house rocks. The old house, there wasn't a road here. Several years ago, the dozer come in here wide this. The old house set right in here, and there's some of your rocks over there, and here's some of the foundation rock. And this was, I don't know what to call the widow's house in the story, that's all I know, where the hog killing was going, where Bill Dark and them rode down the river. And, but they pushed the old house. I remember when part of the old house was still here. I know about it because Aubrey, Daddy both told me, and not together. And Daddy got from the Kenners and Aubrey from Berry's. And every one of them pointed and said, this is it.